It's my pleasure to introduce the Deputy Commissioner of the Department of Human Services, soon to become the Executive Director of one of the biggest public policy think tanks in the nation, Kevin Martone.
Thanks, Joe. And I actually was going to lead off with Dr. Velez. Trenton probably could use you this week. In the final budget negotiations in terms of trying to get things accomplished without using taxpayer dollars. While we Congressman, you may even say the same thing on a federal front. Yeah. Actually, this is really an important issue for me personally on a whole bunch of fronts too. I mean, a lot of you I don't know in the room, but many of you, I do know. It's just some good familiar faces and people who used to work with pretty closely. I kind of grew up in Bergen County's mental health system. I used to work for CBH Care, and I was the CEO for Advanced Housing for a number of years before I actually went down to Trenton to take the job that I'm in now. And so it's really nice to see, I think the continued evolution of an organization like Care Plus, who, even before my going out of state government, was always an organization that I fully respected in the work that you all did here. And so, there's a lot of new faces. Many of you are newer into the field, but just know that you work for a well-respected agency. And I knew that before I went down to Trenton, and I know it today when I'm down to Trenton, paying Joe's bills.
The trophies were very cheap.
When I went down to Trenton 6 years ago, the mental health system was really ripe for some change. We were coming out of President Bush's New Freedom Commission report, where they were really talking about the fundamental changes that were needed in the mental health system, the public mental health system across the country. Governor Cody had at the time convened the mental health task force, which really echoed those similar reports from that national report. And it was really, I think, outside of like a lot of just the nuts and bolts of changing the mental health system, it was really trying to drive this overall philosophy of wellness and recovery. That people can recover, that people can become well, not just mentally but physically, and that when you really tie those things together, not only can you, have people with mental illness succeed and do well and not become liabilities or burdens to our system, but that they can get better and they can go out and be productive members of our society, go to work, go to school, do all the things that you and I do every day in our personal lives. So I was really trying to push that agenda, 6 years ago, and with a lot of support in the community, but when you start to go through change is hard. And at the same time, we hit the national recession, and the national recession really interfered with a lot of the things that we were trying to accomplish at the Division of Mental Health Services. And so it became a real struggle. And so what I'm trying to get to is this. State government can do a lot, but we can't do it all for folks. And it really relies on partnerships with providers. I mean, if you look at this instance here, you're talking about partnerships with federal government, from SAMHSA funding, state government, different state agencies, community organizations who really stepped up to the plate, board members, nonprofit board members who are just so vital in terms of generating revenues, really helping to guide and set the tone of an agency. It really takes those partnerships, and sometimes, particularly in an instance like this, it takes state government to step away from the issue and really let these pockets of innovation develop best practices in the system. And I think that's what you're seeing here. It was a very competitive grant. It's something that we're watching closely to see how Care Plus implements it. We're very excited to see how that goes. Just a couple weeks ago, I had a team come up here of our folks who are really trying to develop, behavioral health home models throughout the state. And Care Plus was an organization to Joe's shop and see what they're doing, because it is a pocket of innovation. It's really going to start to change the landscape. And why do we need to change the landscape? Joe said it. You got to walk down 2 separate halls. You got to, we don't treat mental health consumers like we treat general patients in healthcare, and we really need to take a look at that. The fact is, Kathy said it, people with mental illness die on average 25 years sooner than you and I. 25 years sooner in 2011 and going into 2012 is really a shame. And it's not because of suicide, but it's because of all the physical comorbidities that people experience. Diabetes from medications, tobacco use. Tobacco use, folks, is killing our folks. Killing them, right? We really need to step up our work there. And so when you really talk about integrated healthcare and really what the next generation of mental health services is going to look like, whether you're supporting the Affordable Care Act or not, it's about integrating care. and really treating the person as a whole person and treating their mental health and physical issues on par. I know when I came in as a mental health worker at South Bergen Mental Health Center a bunch of years ago, I felt like my job was to basically get people to acknowledge that they heard voices in their head and that they had a mental illness. And if I was doing that, maybe keeping them out of the hospital, I was doing a great job. It's not that way anymore, right? When I talk to people with mental illness now, what they tell me is they can cope with the voices in their head. It's the fact and the fear that they're going to die 25 years sooner than you and I because of diabetes or something like that from medications. So it's really about bringing that together and really bringing the fields together. Psychiatry's got to learn the lingo of the primary health field. The primary health field needs to learn the lingo of psychiatry and mental health. And we really need to work together. And what you guys are doing here is really an example of that. It's going to set trends throughout the state. No doubt about it. This is going to set the trend throughout the state and really incentivize providers to step up and come together and figure out setting resources aside. Because sometimes it's not about new resources. It's about that idea and figuring out how you can accomplish it. No doubt it's going to make the lives of people with mental illness in the state better. And when you look at SAMHSA's overall goal of trying to increase the life expectancy of people with mental illness by 10 years, in 10 years, it's things like this that are going to make that happen. So I thank you very much personally because, as Joe had mentioned, I'm leaving my job in the next couple of weeks. I'm actually going back out to the private sector. And for me, it's sort of a chapter closed that this type of thing is actually starting in the state now. I'm very happy with that. So thank you.
Thank you so much.